Welcome to Bossed Up Academy, where you can get all of your real estate and business needs met, where we give tips and updates. Tonight, we are going live with Mr. Christopher Dennis. He's going to introduce himself in just a second, but I just want to remind everybody to follow Bossed Up Academy on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, as well as YouTube. Mr. Dennis, can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hey, hi everybody. I'm so excited to be here. I'm a game changer to start off with. And my whole mindset, think big, dream big, be big. I'm Christopher Dennis. I'm the founder and CEO of eFix Development Corp, eFix Housing Solutions, really driving impact within our communities. And my model is this: we build and we change communities one house and one commercial building at a time. So I'm all excited about what we're doing. I'm excited about this conversation, but I'm also excited tonight to drop some nuggets to help you understand that you can actually do it, and we can change the face and reality of what we live in. So I'm excited to be here.
All right, we're gonna let Facebook build our audience real quick, and we come. All right, Mr. Dennis. You just told us a little bit about yourself and the whole idea of being big, right? Everything big. Everybody say go big or go home, right?
That's it.
And that seems to be the motto that you live by. What gave you this inspiration of courage? Because sometimes we are encouraged to play small when we really need to think big, be big, act big, do everything big.
Well, I'll tell you, my story is a little bit unique. I always tell people when I talk to people, I'm always transparent and real. I grew up in a small town, Sumter, South Carolina, and from the first grade to the sixth grade, I was placed in a resource class. I was told I wasn't smart enough, and that my learning abilities would be capped at about the seventh grade. So again, how I started is now how I ended. But I also realized at an early age that we are in control of our future and our realities, and what you think and what you dream about dictates how you live and what you become. So again, I cloned a statement a long time ago about think big, dream big, be big. It's more than just a campaign, it's a mindset. It's about pushing past our comfort zones, embracing the potential, and striving for our greatness. And so I live by that model in everything that I do. So when I look at where I am and what I'm doing, and like I said in the beginning, I'm a game changer, but I'm also one to open the doors, because once you realize in life that you're sitting at tables, my goal in life is always to reach back and help those that aren't at the table and help them understand how to not only to get in the game, but also become a part of the game and play that game knowing all the rules.
Okay, so we want to know the rules. We want to know how to play the game. And so tell us a little bit about, what you have going on in Charlotte.
Wow. Look, we got a lot going on, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna start by saying first, I gotta give honor and glory to God, because God entrusts to whom much is given, much is required. And Habakkuk 2:2 and James 4:2, verses that I live by. You have not because you ask not. And then, when you start looking at write the vision and make it plain, we've got to sit back and really think about what we're doing, why we're doing it. What I'm doing in Charlotte, again, is behind me is a dream. When you look at my background, you'll see Site One, working on some projects on Batesford Road. We brought Chase Bank. We got Archive Coffee Shop. I got to give them a big shout out. And I want to say this and say with wholeheartedness: God gives you a blessing, but the true blessing is not what He does for you; it's what He'll do through you. This week, Archive Coffee Shop was on the Today Show. That's big. Look, that's huge for Batesford Road to be on the Today Show. This week we also opened up on the Mackin's Bridal Shop, changing and making history. They have a legacy with their family having a previous retail store in that location, and now they have their bridal shop there. These two ladies are changing history, changing Batesville Road. I'm excited about that. We also have a bakery coming in. It's a hidden secret right now, but we're doing some cool things. The bakery's coming in, and then we got Chase Bank as our anchor tenant. So this was a dream that God gave, and He gave me about going in the deep, and I want to transfer from residential to commercial. And when you ask God for something, He not only gives it to you, but He gives it to you in multiplicity. So this is site one, and I'm excited about that. But right across the street, so if you look a little this way, you'll see the across the street we have site two coming up. It's already announced out there, so I'm not putting the thunder out there for anybody, but I'm excited about that site two. We'll be opening that up in late May. But site two has TD Bank going as our anchor tenant. Then we got Kimberly, who owns Members Only. When I talk about tenacity and energy and drive, this young lady is hands down one of the hardest working women I've seen in Charlotte. She not only has a juice bar here, but she has a hookah bar / lounge off of Central Avenue. She's really doing it. Had a juice bar in Noda, and now she's bringing that opportunity to Batesville Road as well. So I'm excited what we're about to do, and that's going to change the face of how we look at the Batesville Road corridor. And then on the end, we got a upscale nail salon coming. So what we did, and I want to say thank you to my team, because anything you do it with the team. I have a great team of people behind me working and helping me build this. We were very strategic in what we did and what we wanted to do to bring to Batesville Road. So we have really thought about what the community wanted, how to reshape and rebuild and rebrand the narrative. Again, I always talk about that narrative because, again, my narrative was something someone tried to put on me. And I always tell people, never live by a narrative that's not yours. So with that said, these are two sites that I'm working on, and in the same location. It has not been dropped yet, so I'm not going to drop it tonight. Eric, I'm not going to put it out there, but site 3 is coming up. Site 3 is on Batesville Road as well. We're going to be doing some cool things with site 3, and I'm excited about that, bringing some much more needed services to Batesville Road to help change and drive, again, building and change that narrative to something that's positive and something that in a community that really needs it. Because Batesville Road is strong because the people who live, work, and invest there. I'm just happy that EFIX Development Corp and EFIX Housing, we're working hard as partners to partner with the community, because we are the community. And we talk about the concept of buying back the block. And I always tell people, why buy it back when you can just own it?
Okay, so you talking about not just buying it back, because a lot of people are buying the block, but then they want to flip it, right?
Yeah.
And is that really buying the block back when you are doing all these flips versus buying and holding and now being able to be in that commercial space? Because you said not only one bank, but two banks are your anchor tenants, right?
Yes.
So not only are you bringing this to Beatties Ford, buying the block back and holding it, right? But you also bring in banking, which a lot of our people don't have relationships with banks, such as Chase and TD, right? So that is more than a twofold. That is more than a win-win, because now you bring in the banking industry where people need to know who these people are, so that way you could probably get potential funding or at least establish business accounts and different and loans. May they not even be a mortgage, but say a business loan or a line of credit, things like that. Now you're bringing them to your location for these businesses, right?
You got to do it, and I think that's key. When you start looking at how to transform a neighborhood, you got to be strategic. My background, a lot of people that know me know that my background was in banking. I ran the trading floor for Bank of America for 13 years, so I got to learn a lot about finance and how money actually operates, and some of the things that we're not taught in high school, the things that we're not given access to. And so I'm always, if you're around me, if you're at the coffee shop, you catch me at Archive or you catch me on the street, I'm always talking about economics and how to change our narratives when it comes to how we look at finances. So the key thing when you look at communities that are underfunded, you start to see the things that are in other communities that aren't in these communities. And we know that banking is crucial. And like you mentioned there about having that relationship, once you understand how money really works and you formulate the right relationships that can get you access to that capital helps drive everything that you're looking to do. This isn't possible without having the right relationships. And I personally thank my bankers and all of my sponsors and grants from the city and working with different financial partners to make it happen. But we were able to pull it off. And again, eFix is now in 2020, when we were having the worst crisis that ever hit the entire world. We were expanding our company and taking a risk to ensure that we could make sure that a community that needed a little hope, a little spark, we were there to step up, accept that challenge, and make that happen. And I'm so excited about it. And we're seeing the blessings of it all around. And I'm just excited about it. I mean, it's an amazing feat. And I want to give that shout out too, that, we not only rebuilt the building, but we also have made it a historic designation. So you're going to hear more about an upcoming announcement about how we're doing a huge event to honor the legacy of Mr. McDonald and also some of the others that have played a major part in the impact of the corners of Batesford, LaSalle, and how it's changing.
Okay, so a lot of our real estate or newbies are in the residential space, but people are not really tapping into the commercial space like they probably should. What would you say are some of the advantages of commercial over residential?
Wow. So that's a loaded question. So those, again, if you follow me on Instagram at themrchrispiness.com, or you follow me in the past, you see that I've done a lot in real estate. So our housing side is eFix Housing. We own roughly about 100 homes all across the local downtown market area in Charlotte, and we're doing it for the last 20 years. I'll tell anybody that real estate is not a get rich quick scheme. You hear it out there, everyone telling you what they're doing, but the people that are really doing this and doing it with the passion of rebuilding communities, you might not never see them. So you won't see me out there a whole lot talking about what I do, because it's not about what you have, it's about the people that you bless and the lives you change. And I've been, for the last 20 years, I have been in the changing lives business. We have done a lot of housing on the north end side. And so when I first got into residential housing, you start looking at some of the elements of dealing with psychology, dealing with different people, dealing with people with needs, dealing with people that have hurts. And you really have to understand and have a connection with God, because some of those people are going to try you and test you. But the thing about it is that you always want to try and give people an opportunity and understand where they're coming from, and make sure that you don't forget where you came from. Because I came from a small town. I came from not having. And so working in communities that were marginalized in the housing side, it wasn't easy, but I was able to build a nice portfolio. And then I again you have not, because you asked that, I asked God to get in the commercial, and I was able to use my residential portfolio as a leverage to kind of go in and then transfer with the right banking relationships, be able to go out and secure these two locations and make it happen. And I'll tell you, we put both of these buildings on the contract within weeks, and we closed on both of them within days of each other. So when someone tells me it's not possible, I'll show you that it is possible. But I always tell people, it's if you want to be successful at residential, is watch and repeat. Right location, believe in community, believe in the community, and then do the right thing when it comes to integrity of building that community, and you'll grow your portfolio. And then when you start looking at commercial is a little different game. You got to know your numbers. You got to have a great team behind you, and you can't do it by yourself. So the one big thing I'll tell you is residential, I built my portfolio and I worked to make that happen. But when I got to commercial, I knew I needed a bigger team, and I had to expand how I think and how I look, how I thought about things. So I'll put it in a simple sense. It's like playing checkers and moving to a chessboard. When I was in residential, it was more of a checkerboard move. It was buy this house, make this happen, change this life, and rebuild a community, and not sell. And then second, so what I did was, when you look at commercial is different, because now you're on a chessboard, and that chessboard got different pawns, and those pawns move totally different. The way you talk to a banker about a residential property is not how you talk to a banker about a commercial property. You have to understand not only what the city's doing, but what developments are happening, and also be and anchor with the community. Again, I tell people I'm a developer, but I wear a community hat, and that community hat comes from my residential side. So to answer your question, to answer directly, if you really want to be engaged in the commercial space, really understand how everything you do impacts the community, and realize that your community is always there and always watching, and you're responsible for how you develop and what happens to it. So I'm very key about listening to the community and trying to do the right thing, and always trying to put the best foot forward to make sure that what we're doing is impactful for the community. So
And so I wanted to piggyback off of you what you're saying. You mentioned about grants from the city and as well as banking relationships. And so many people, and I'm trying to transfer this mindset, and I'm trying to bring it up as much as possible with different guests, that OPM, other
okay,
people's money,
yeah.
good debt versus bad debt. Can you expand upon that to encourage people that they don't have to wait till they get enough money? They don't have to make all these sacrifices, but to go after OPM.
And I'll tell you, I'll drop some nuggets here. When I first started, when I first bought my first house, I'm doing a lot of. So if you follow me on Instagram and all my media platforms, we're about to drop out some trainings because I really want to tell people how to build $1 million portfolio sitting in the cubicle. I did it. One of the key things I tell you is when you start looking at it's easy to start off with traditional financing, but at a certain point, Freddie Mae and Fannie Mae is going to handcuff you and tell you can't do it anymore because of these rules and regulations, and you have to step outside the box and start looking at OPM. But before you get to OPM, you also have to exhaust your existing network because there's people around you all the time that are willing to invest to have money and I'm pointing at myself that's willing to invest and build programs to help you with that transfer into OPM. And OPM could be hard money or it could be private lending. I talk about all of them, but like I said before, in between that gap, I use a little known secret. So I'm gonna drop a nugget on you tonight, just a nugget. So when I was at the bank, I looked at strategy. So make sure again, if you're going to play the game, know the rules. So what I'm telling you is do your research and understand the rules. So I use my 401k plan, a loan against my 401k plan, to buy my first few properties. And I was able to put that money back inside my account within 60 days because I already had my finances set up. So let me explain that. I took a loan against my 401k plan. I already had my plan set up. I know how long I need the money to be out, and I had a full-fledged plan. I had my financing in works, and so I was able to take a loan against my 401k plan, buy that asset, get it refinanced, and put that money back in my 401k plan to make sure it was whole and I wasn't penalized for that. So that's how I started buying a lot of my properties, and then I started learning what self-directed array accounts were. And again, I'm not going to drop too much nuggets on here and take it too deep, but I really understood how strategies work. If you follow me, I talk a lot more about that. I got some fireside chats that are coming out soon, which I'll tell you more about that and dive deeper. And all of my mentees know I'm a wealth of knowledge and I want to help people succeed. But the game is easy. But once you understand how finances work and how to think outside the box, you can grow a portfolio overnight, and it's not that hard. I'm not gonna say not gonna take hard work. Please don't misconstrue my words and say I said it was easy because it's not. I've been doing this for 20 years. I've been putting together deals for 20 plus years. And if you think you want to be me, it's like walking in a weight room and putting 500 pounds in your back and trying to bench press that. It ain't gonna happen overnight. And I still had the same struggles, and I'm out. But again, my struggles were alleviated a little bit when I realized how money worked and I understood how to talk to banks and actually get that money. So it's all about getting to that bag. Like my son say, get to the bag.
Okay. So a lot of people, I mean, it's just a big misconception amongst people that think that this is, like you said, a get rich quick scheme. I flip a house, I'm gonna make so much money, but they don't understand that each project is like an individual business of its own. It needs a strategy, it needs a plan, it needs a budget, It needs a marketing plan, right?
Yeah.
In order to get that. So, how do you pick your properties? Because a lot of people don't know what area should they be investing.
Now, see, you got me on. You asked for them secrets that I only give out to my class. But I'll tell you this. I got one coming up soon. So if you follow me, I'm about to do something that's amazing, and I'm actually going to talk about that. But to answer your question, I think the key thing is I always tell my mentors, look in your backyard. Your biggest gems are found in your backyard. When you want to go out and search for what you want in life, sometimes what you want is always right next door to you. We talk about 6 degrees of separation. The people that can change your life today are only 6 steps away from you, and those conversations are all around. So when you start looking at your next opportunity, it could be next door. And I'll tell you a funny story. When I bought my first home to move into, and I decided I want to get into investing. I woke up, I had a dream, and God showed me a dream, a row of houses, and I was like, God, I don't understand this dream at this time, but I got faith, and I made a decision that I was going to buy the house next door to me. I said it, and I put it out there, and the lady that lived next to me was a senior, and she was moving in with her son, and she was going to sell the house on the market. And I said, I'm just taking the leap of faith. God showed me a row of houses. You know what? I'm going to ask her, can I buy this house? And I kid you not, I bought the house. And everyone told me I was crazy because it was 2 bedroom and 1 bath. And I was told when I first got into investing, never buy two bedroom, 1 bath because it'll never rent and it's not gonna make you money. To this day, that house has never had a vacancy over 1 month. I kid you not. It's never been vacant, and that has been I'll even say I think I paid 75,000 for the house back then, and again, it's never been vacant to this day, and it has blessed multiple families and has changed lives. So again, it's never about the money for me. Nothing that I do is about the money. It's all about the lives we change and the people I can impact. So, and I always go against the grain. So I hope that answered that question because I go up and talk about God and get excited and kind of be all over the place.
And so I want to talk about government because you were talking about grants from the city. I want to talk about how people can use um, government entities to know where development is coming and grants that may be available to them because a lot of people don't go in, I think, with a strong enough plan or a strategy. They just go out, let me find a vacant, and they just grabbing and smashing anything that they can. But with a careful plan of the buy and hold, then you'll know where the growth is coming. So tell us a little bit about how you leverage local government.
Well, I'll tell you this. I always have a strategy, and if you know me, I'm very strategic about everything that I do. If I am, by the time you figure out where I am, I'm already moving. But to answer your question about government grants, it's all about relationships, and it's about trust. So the first thing I'll tell you to do, step one, find your local district rep. Shake their hand, get to know them. Make sure you're voting. Make sure that you're out there talking to them every day because they hold the secrets on where things are happening, and they can be your biggest advocate. Then start looking at city government, city council as a whole, and when they start talking about grants and opportunities, make sure that you have first integrity, you have a great conversation, and you have a mission on what you're trying to do, and you can articulate that. I mean, if you, I have a small in my ebook that I'm going to be dropping out tonight. It's about mindset, but I also have one that's coming out about perfect your pitch. And so being able to have a conversation clearly with city officials on what you're doing, what you want, and being authentic about it. I mean, really being authentic and passionate about it. That gets people to not only see past the business side, but see the fact that you're caring, you're actually going to change something. I tell people all the time, if you want to be wealthy, solve problems. Make sure that if you're actually getting into real estate or you're whatever it is, whatever business you're doing, solve a problem. Wealthy people solve problems. Poor people create them, and so you want to figure out how to solve those problems and be engaging. So again, step one, find your district rep, Have a great conversation about what you're doing in the areas you're looking at buying in. Second, talk to the city council wherever you are. Have those conversations, and when you start to talk to those individuals, you'll find out about grants and opportunities. I'll tell you that the development you see behind me on the single family side, residential, I didn't have a lot of grants. I may have two small initial grants, but that was to my nonprofit. Working with the city, but my biggest grants came when I started getting into commercial, and I built all of my relationships that I had over years, and we were able to secure a huge grant because we were doing a lot of work in a marginalized area. So these projects are right now in opportunity. They're in opportunity zones. They're in corridors of opportunities, and there was funding that the city put in place to help rebuild these communities. And we took an opportunity, had a great conversation. It was, and I'm going to say this: free money is not easy money, but the object of it was it's like dating and getting married. We had to date for a while and it was really rough and rocky, but we were able to get married, and we have now changing and doing a great development. And that came with a lot of conversations and late nights, me scratching my head saying, God, I asked you for this, but I don't think I was ready. And then going back to the point of really focusing in on, I know you sent me to do this job, God, and I know where you send me you always provide for me. And so we were able to come up with substantial grants and loans. So please don't get offended when someone says I'm gonna give you a small grant and then give you a big loan. That loan may be at 1% or a low interest rate, which really helps your numbers perform. When you're in commercial, the numbers truly matter, and those numbers may not always be in the form of grants. They could be in the form of a loan as well. And I'll tell you that's how we were able to get some of this funded. But it was also really having the conversation and being able to articulate your mission and your goal. And I'll give you a perfect example. When you look at eFix Development Corp and what we did on Batesville Road, here's my pitch. We have a three core strategy. Community engagement. We focus on rebuilding and re-engaging the community at all levels. Second, we focus on small business development. We want to make sure that we're bringing and supporting small businesses in the area to help change and drive and create upward mobility and opportunities in the corridor. And then third, we want to use art and fusion to create the conversation, the commonality, to pull people together. You see, that's an elevator pitch that talks to everything that we're doing. But again, we're doing everything that we said we were going to do. Now, if you're not willing to step into the game and be a boss like we're talking about tonight, you've got to be able to really step up and live by what you're saying and mean it and be able to execute and deliver. This did not happen and it was not easy. I had to deliver. But once you start delivering, you start to set that track record, people will start finding ways to do business with you and bring opportunities to you. And again, it starts back off with having the right relationships and networks. And again, if you ever have a question and you don't understand how to build relationships or need that connection, hey, follow me. I'm always willing to talk and help because again, I said early in the beginning, just when God places you at a table, you have the right to be at that table, but you also have the opportunity to reach back and help those who are not at that table. And I'm willing to do that for anybody out there who really wants to change their lives and impact communities. And I mean that when I say change your life, but also impact communities.
We got a question here.
All
The
right.
question is, how did you start developing your commercial team?
Wow, it's like anything. I mean, when you look at a team, you want to make sure your first people that you can work with, and then you have to go to what they bring to the table and experience. So I have my team is built of advisors, brokers, realtors, and another partner who brought some experience to the table. But I am the sole owner of both of these developments, and we have we had a community partner that sat on our board that actually was from the community, and that person brought helped me with making sure that we were listening to the community, we were engaging the community, and we were putting the community first in everything we did. That's a huge role. Then I have my broker who was able to come in and strategically align to make sure we were working with the right businesses, we were evaluating, and we were trying to put together the right energy. So think about this: you got a bridal shop, you got on one side you got coffee, you got some cakes, and then across the street you got a juice bar to help you get healthy. and then you got a nail salon. Think about the energy that they all flow, and then you got two banks on the end. All that was strategically put together in a way that we knew we could have businesses sharing and keeping the dollar rotating in our communities. I'll talk about that more in another conversation, but we've got to figure out ways to make sure in our communities that we're circulating that dollar and making sure people are coming and spending money in our communities just as well as others. And as we build communities, we have to make sure those communities are diverse. So to answer that question, making sure that across the board that we're able to do what you say you're going to do and build for the community.
We got another. This is a comment. Good credit will definitely change a person's life.
And that is true. And I'll say, I was doing an example with a fireside chat. I would say join my fireside chats, and I'll tell you, I talk more about how to not only build credit, but how to change your life and how you think about credit. Credit, we're taught, and well, I was taught. Let me say I like I statements. I was taught at an early age that cash was king, and that was when I was playing on the checkerboard. But once you move to chess, we all know that on that chessboard, the queen rules that board, and we have to think that way. And that queen is actually credit. So that comment is true. And so I'll tell you early on, make sure that you have good credit, because that I want to add this to it. And my PR people may kill me. They may get all over me on this statement, but I tell people all the time, you have to understand your credit is very powerful. It tells who you are. Now there's some things I don't agree with credit, and I don't agree how credit actually works overall. But it also tells, are you paying your bills? Are you over leveraged? Are you under leveraged? Are you doing some things and have good habits? I don't think it's fair across the board, but it does give a overview of who you are and what you're doing. So make sure that you protect your credit like you protect everything else. And I think that should be one of the key things that a nugget tonight, because it is. I couldn't do this if I didn't have good credit. And I'll tell you, when I first started, I didn't have good credit when I first started. No one ever talked about credit. Everybody told me I could do real estate without any money, and credit didn't matter. And I'm gonna tell you, they lied. They flat out lied. There's some ways there's some tricks and things to get around it. But when you start looking at being success in real estate, anything in life, integrity comes first. And that integrity is not just what you do when people see you. It's what you do when people don't see you. It's what you're doing with your money, what you're doing with the money that's been given to you, and how you operate. So credit is a big thing. I believe in it wholeheartedly. And again, I believe in protecting my credit and trying to make sure I'm doing the right thing. Because once you get bad credit, all those relationships you talk about with banks, those conversations don't go very well. So.
And a lot of people now are preaching, and you see a lot of TikTok videos about business credit, right? But certain things can only get you to a certain level. And when you start breaking these ceilings, then you got to be able to play on a different playing field.
You do.
And that the credit, I think, not only tells about what you do when people are not looking, but it also says who you are as a business person. Do you budget? Do you take care of things? Do you procrastinate? Because then some people say, well, I just didn't pay that. Well, but I had the money. So are you on top of your game? A lot of time it can say a lot about your character as to who you are, and not just did you have the money to pay or not? Because credit is about your willingness not to pay, not your ability to pay.
And don't I tell people too, don't misconstrue the fact that if a person has bad credit on one side, you can almost say they will have bad credit on the other side. So make sure that you're practicing the good habits when it comes to money on all sides. I talk about that all the time. Think big, dream big, be big. That is it's not it's not just a comment or a statement. It's a movement, because how you think and how you move determines how you will actually have access. And I want to clarify, when I say be big, being big is about the people that you bless, not what you have. So thinking is about how you think, how you want to change your mind, and dreaming big is about changing your reality. But being big, when you start to do that, it's about how you moving to change lives.
So, if you could tell your 20-year-old self any advice, because I know there's a lot of millennials that are thinking about either going into entrepreneurship or getting into real estate, because those are the two big things. And then the third big thing is people doing this day trading in stocks. But what would you tell your 20-year-old self?
I tell my 20-year-old self, I got a 19-year-old. He's amazing. He just started his business. So I'll say, if I'm speaking to my son, the first thing I tell him is first have integrity and put God first. And that's the one thing I go back and make sure that I put in, because when you understand that God is the head of my life, when I understood that, my why became greater. My why wasn't just about me; it was about me, making sure I leave this place a better place than when I came here. And then second, I would tell myself, never play a game that you don't know the rules. If you're gonna play this game of real estate, know the rules. If you're gonna be successful, know the rules of being successful. If you want to be successful, get around people that are successful and talking about it and actually doing it. And my other saying, which I tell myself all the time, and I tell my mentees, never take advice from someone who's not living or doing or have the lifestyle that you want to live. And I mean that wholeheartedly. If they don't have the lifestyle that you want to live, don't take advice from them. Just please don't. And I'll tell you a quick story, because I don't want to. I want to make sure I drop this and do it the right way. I remember my boss came to me and he offered, when I was leaving Bank of America, he offered me an opportunity to stay and gave me a nice bump in the salary. And I was like, we are working 70 hours a week. I know things that are a little bit rocky at the house because we have all these conversations, and I know we don't get take a lot of vacations. And your lifestyle is not what I want, so I can't take the advice from you to stay in this situation, and knowing that my impact is so much greater when I got out, when I was seeing that I could do on the outside to impact and change some lives. Now, I'm not telling anybody to go in the office tomorrow and quit their job. But what I'm telling you is just understand the rules and make sure that you're taking advice from people who, first of all, understand who you are and what you're trying to do, and they're willing to show you that they're doing it, and you can see that they're doing it. I tell people all the time, we're about to do something that's so amazing. I'm excited about what's about to happen in a few days. I got a fireside chat that's coming out. You're going to hear about it, but it won't be on this continent. Look, we're international, baby. So. So it's going to be amazing. I'm excited about it. But not only changing lives in Charlotte, but we got some projects around the world that that I want to be talking about. Because again, I've been doing this for 20 years. I didn't just show up on the scene. 20 plus years. 20 years, man. It's been 13. It's been 14 years since I actually worked at a corporation. And it's amazing when God sets you on a journey and you can look back and see all the things that you've been through. And it hasn't been easy. But remember this: if God would do it for a kid that came from a resource class that they told wasn't smart enough and couldn't learn past seventh grade, what will He do with you? That's a question.
So, and then I'm glad you brought the point that you did not start out and just jump out here, that you actually have an overlap of corporate America for at least 6 of the 20 years that you've been in real estate, right?
Yep.
So that part of the process people don't see. So what, 6 years in to the game, what made you actually take that leap of faith to say you were going to walk away?
Well, I'll tell you this. So I'm just add this to that note that my everything I learned about networking, about relationships, I learned at the bank. So wherever you are and whatever you're doing, if you're flipping burgers, it doesn't matter. Those relationships you learning about flipping burgers will pay off in the future. Those relationships I learned at the bank and all the stuff I was doing, they're paying off today. All those contacts, all of the relationships I built, all the people I've talked to, how I talk to them, how we engage, all that's paying off right now today. And I had to use everything in my tool bag to do what I'm doing today. Um, uh, what changed me? I was at the bank for 13 years, and I was sitting in a cubicle. I never forget sitting in that cubicle, and I started looking at those four walls, and I felt as if they were closing in on me because I was sitting there watching people have a lifestyle that I knew I deserved, but I didn't have. And I'm gonna say this, and I've said it multiple times. I was at my salary cap was almost 200,000, but I was broke. I was living a lifestyle I couldn't afford, and no one was telling me how to become successful. They were just telling me to work harder, and I realized that working harder, work, education without application is a default, meaning that it's not going to get you where you want to be at. So I had to learn a different way to do things that would allow me to move to the next level. And and I also realized that I got tired of just seeing people had the lifestyle I wanted to live. And then I knew that I was making an impact at the bank, but my true impact was on the outside of the bank, working in the community, going back and changing lives in the community. And I was willing to do whatever it took to follow my passion, my dream. You'll hear me talk about that. If you download that ebook, I talk about mindset and I talk about what it takes up here to help you get yourself prepared mentally, because it wasn't easy walking away. It wasn't easy not getting that paycheck on a Friday at first, and it wasn't easy realizing that I had to be a lion, and that lion in the jungle is different than that lion in the zoo. And if you want to tell a difference, you ask that lion in the zoo what's for lunch. He's gonna tell you whatever's on the menu, and I don't eat raw meat. That lion in the zoo, lion in the safari, in my domain, if you ask me what's for lunch today, I'm gonna tell you quickly. It depends on how close you stand to me and where you at. You might be my lunch today. And so everything out here, today, I mean, everything I do matters. Every life I touch matters. Every opportunity that comes up matters. And I'm always telling people that know me, if you're talking to me about something that has substance, I am all ears. But if you're sitting there yapping and some negative stuff, or you lose my attention real quick. So to answer your question, I mean, for me, it was just getting tired and seeing people have a lifestyle I knew I deserved, and I wanted to make an impact. And my why got so big that impact said I had had enough, and I need to try something different. But I'm sitting there telling you, I'm not telling you tomorrow to go in there and talk to your boss and leave your job. I'm not telling you that. What I'm telling you is learn as much as you can, build great relationships, and then start focusing on your dream. Because when I realized that I could put 100% of my effort into my dream, I saw my dream become a reality.
Okay, we got another question. Is real estate your passion or what it allows you to do, such as working within your community?
And that's a great question. Real estate is only a pathway. So I have so many people come and ask me, "Oh, teach me real estate. Teach me what you're doing. How'd you get to 100 houses? How you doing this?" I said, "Well, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you more about how I created a house for a family. I'll tell you more about how we started a 5K and changed a community that was labeled as the top 25 most dangerous neighborhoods to live in America. I'll tell you how we went on Batesville Road and gave jobs to people that were at the time homeless, but now are housed and now work for our corporation. That's more important to me. And when you start to have those conversations, I'll tell you how that house that you asked God for that family now is the house that is now making you cash flow in your building. And you bought not one, but you bought the whole entire block. Then I'll tell you about how that job, how you asked God for that commercial building, but God said, I gave you the commercial building because I wanted you to hire that homeless guy and make sure that when people ride past how beautiful that site is, that it's that homeless guy that used to be homeless that's now cleaning that site up. These are not cliche statements. These are actual statements. When you ride past Batesville Road, Site 1 and Site 2, the guy that cleans, his name is Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson was in the community, and now he's on my corporate payroll. Again, it's about changing lives. And so for me, it's never about the real estate. It's never about the transaction. It's about the life that I'm going to change with that transaction. Now, I'm not saying you got to be smart, because I try and make the strategic moves, but it's really about how do you go out and find the blessing, and then you ask what you're asking for. So let me put that in an easy format. Never ask God for what you want. Ask Him for the blessing. God, show me the family you want me to put in this house. And guess what God does? He gives you a house. Hey, I did it 100 times.
So, with that being said, that anything is possible, and that's about people don't realize that the money doesn't drive most people. It's about putting people first, and then the money follows.
Yeah, it does. And for me, I'm just so excited. And I'm blessed, and that's the reason why now I'm doing more of teaching, trying to getting more into the teaching and telling people the real. I see so many guys that are talking about how to get into real estate, how to do this, and I'm listening, and I'm very humble. I walk in a lot of rooms. I tell my mentees all the time, I'm the quiet, loudest giant in the room. I'm going to listen. I'm very humble because I want to learn. I'm there in every room I'm in. I want to learn, and if I'm not learning, I'm not in the right room. So for me, it's all about just trying to figure out how to change lives. And so that's what I'm doing now with Think Big, Dream Big, Be Big. Is I want to help people change the way they think, change the way they dream, and then figure out how to live big. And that live big again is how do you bless more people? If we're gonna buy, like if you're saying buy back the block, let's go own it. But let's own it from the standpoint that we're going to change the narrative of the entire community. We're going to give people jobs and opportunities. We're going to create upward mobility. And we're going to give people a sense of pride for all communities, not just our community, but all communities. Because I want to see people come to Batesville Road. They've never been to Batesville Road and do something that's different and get excited about it. Just like I did with the North End. I want to see people. When you go to Camp North End, if you go and look at some of the if you go in the food court, there's a little QR code. If you scan that, it talks about how we donated an art house in the middle of the community. I donated one of the first art houses, which is a 4-bedroom, 4-bath house in the middle of Lockwood community. Why? Because I wanted to create an impact where people could have a conversation and do something that was great. And the house now is a historic designation. It's out there. Get to know the Lockwood Legends House. Look it up. It's a great project we did, but we changed a lot of lives. So for me, it's never about the money. It's about the give back. It's about how we're changing lives. And so I'm excited about it.
And I think that, and then back to your concept about the big concept, right? Because I think that people get caught up in minuscule tasks, the little things, the little mindset, the small mentality, and they never can reach the other side. That they don't get to see that the more successful people are, the more they're willing to give information, and that most of your crabs in the bucket mentality are at the bottom, right?
Yeah, and that's we all heard this, Erica. You've heard the statement. Yeah, I mean, if you want to change your life, if you want to see what a person's life future is going to be like, look at the friends they hang around. I mean, I want to be around people talking about success, talking about eagles, talking about being great. And I tell people all the time, just, the crab in the bucket mentality is real. If you hang around crabs, you're going to be in the bucket. But if you want to get out that bucket, you got to think a little bit different, and you got to do something that's different. And it's okay to be different.
How do you suggest somebody to go to that next level? How do they get from, because most of the time your network, right, are your people that you associate with on a daily basis. So how do you get into those circles?
It's like, so and this is a great conversation. This isn't about real estate or business. One of the things that I learned early when I was at the bank, it was always, what's the difference between the CEO and the employee? There's no difference. And I guarantee you, if you actually walked up to someone who you thought was successful, they'd be willing to talk to you all day. I promise you, Erica, we've had conversations, and people tell me, you talk all the time. Look, I had nobody to talk to. People ask me questions. If you want to know something, come ask me. I'll be happy to talk, because everyone says, you're doing this, you're doing that. No, you call me, I take the time. You bring a great conversation, I'm going to have the time. I never forget, I had a vision, and someone referenced me to talk to, I'll say Mr. McCall, and I was so impressed that I reached out to him, and he called me back the next day. He emailed me within 6 hours. So I try and tell people, if you call me, I'm gonna give you my time and attention, but just make sure you come with something that is of value, and something that you need, that I can help change your life or make a connection for you, or we're gonna do some business together. I mean, that doing business together gets my attention, and so just be humble and always be in a learning mindset, and just remember, when you wake up in the morning, if you tell yourself you're gonna have a great day, guess what? You're gonna have a great day. If you tell yourself that God, the day open, show me the people I need to bless, God will show you a whole bunch of people you need to bless. And you ask God, hey, look, God, show me what I need to do next. He's gonna show you what you need to do next. So I wake up with that mindset every morning. God, show me the people that I'm supposed to bless today. Not show me the house I'm supposed to buy. Not show me how much money I'll make today. No, show me the people I'm gonna bless. Because if I ask that question, I always get blessed. I'm always getting money. I make money when I'm sleeping.
So, how do you link your confidence to your big concept?
um, Again, it's I tell people, you step inside my dreams, you have to stretch a little bit. Because what I dream about, I'm always dreaming big. I'm always dreaming outside the box. You know, again, when you see this, when you see this develop behind me, you'll say, you know, you're humble, man. Look, this ain't even me. This is God. I couldn't do this. I'm gonna tell you an honest to God secret, and everybody lean in and listen closely. Before I actually ever did commercial, I've only did residential. When I asked God to get in commercial, I had never been on a commercial site, had never seen a commercial blueprint, never actually walked in a commercial building when it was being built because ain't nobody let me in. And now I have two commercial successful projects that are being built and that are done and that are operating. Anything is possible if you're humble and you're willing to step outside of your box. The one thing that's holding you back right now is the box you created for yourself when you say, I can't do, I don't know, and I don't understand, or it's not possible. For me, everything is possible. Everything I can do. And when you tell me I can't do it, trust me, give me a little bit of time, I'm going to figure it out. Wealthy people solve problems. If you got a problem, call me. I'll help you solve it. That might cost you a little bit, but I'm going to help you solve it.
So I want to just encourage people to reach out to that person or that person that you think may not respond to you because they just might. And now with social media and different areas, that 6 degree of separation that you were talking about is a lot shorter. Now we're probably on a 3 to 2 degree
There you go.
of separation, considering how social media, phones, all these people, I mean, all these things connect you to different people and different things. So I would say reach out to that person that you don't think will respond to you. And just like Mr. Dennis, he may be that person that responds back or the person that you really want to connect with. And don't surround yourself with people that's not living or taking advice, I think is the biggest thing, from people who are not living the life that you want to live or are obtaining the things that you want to have.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
I'm gonna give you your roses. Like, you know, I watched your sessions and we had some conversations and I'm looking at your pictures and things you're doing. You know, again, get to know people and understand we all go through our trials and tribulations. I got plenty of them. I told you, you walk in that weight room and put this weight on your shoulder and you ain't got 20 years in, your knees might bust up. But again, if you walk in there and you say, you know what, Chris, hey, you know, I want to learn from you. How do I get to? How can I get to one of your fireside chats? How do I become a mentor? Hey, look, how can I get in one of your classes? You know, when you do that, I'll invite you in, and we'll have a whole lot of conversations, and you will learn. But I'm gonna tell you, the price I tell people, the price you pay, the price you don't pay for education is the price you pay for all the mistakes you're gonna make along the way. And those mistakes today are a lot higher. When I got into real estate in the beginning, I think, you know, for the first it's been 20 plus years. The first 18 years, I've never paid over 50 I'd say 65,000 for a house. Let that sink in. So again, the price point today is a lot higher. And I've been in the game for a long time. And so be humble, get around people that are doing it. Talk to people, find people like Miss Erica and tap into the Boss Up Academy. And then when you get that down pat, come on over and follow me and start think big, dream big, and being big, and get to my mentorship programs and my classes and things I'm talking about. And we can figure out how to not only change your lives, but build legacy and generational wealth. If you don't understand what I'm doing when I talk about being big, it's not about you. It's about the lives you're going to change. And no, it's not for ones you're changing today, but the ones that are going to come after you. God told me something that was so crazy. He said the people that you're gonna bless the people that you're truly blessing will never even know, you will never even know their name. And I'm like, wow, God, that was deep. You mean the people that I'm gonna touch, that you're sending me here to do something great for, I will never even know their names. When I looked at some of the houses that we provide families for, I don't know their I don't know their grandkids. I don't know their names. I know the kids and I may know the parents, but I don't know their grandkids. But we've changed their lives by providing affordable, respectable housing with the commercial buildings. People that walked in and visit archive of people who are going to buy these wedding dresses. I may never even know their names, but through God's blessing, we're changing lives. So when you ask yourself and you say, I'm not doing enough or I'm not enough, I want you to ask yourself, what names that you will never know that you're changing? Who's watching you? When we put charging stations on Batesford Road, some young kids gonna walk past and what is that? And who owns that building? I may never know who they are, but they'll say, you know what? I seen a picture of that guy, and if he did it, if he came from a resource class, I can do it. And I may never know their name. And now I understand what God's talking about. It's never about what you do and what I've given you. It's the lives you're going to impact and what I'm going to do through you. So again, get around people and watch the people that are doing it. And I'm just so proud of you, Erica, and what you're doing. And that's why I had to come on and give you the shout out and give you these roses because you're awesome, you're dynamic, and you're setting a presence and a goal, man. And I think Black Girl Magic is rocking with you, girl. So just keep doing what you're doing.
I really appreciate it. And I wanted to thank you for taking the time to come back because I felt like your story, who you are, your process will inspire somebody to go to the next level or a lot of residential people to transfer to commercial or to even inspire somebody to go dive feet forward into commercial and skip over the residential because I just think that people feel like commercial is just untouched, that's
Exactly.
so hard, not attainable. But people like yourself, you know, give us that hope that, hey, I can do this. And I appreciate your transparency of talking about how you had an IEP, that that labels don't determine your success in life. Grades don't determine your success in life, but your tenacity and your willingness to learn is what has made you who you are and is as successful as you are, and the whole give back thing and let people see that you are a human person and that you have a conscience of giving back, even though people may see you on all these different platforms getting all these awards, being named, the person to know in Charlotte on these different forums, but you still have this passion about yourself of helping people reach the next level, and there's no arrogance to it.
There is, and I'm so excited about some things we're about to do. I'm getting a speak. I got a lot of speaking engagements coming up. Really going to change some lives and tell the story about just. There's a lot more stories. I mean, I want to tell people more about some of the things we're doing. So, I got some speaking engagements coming up. I hope to speak more. Just did a great talk at Queen's University with some young students, and I mean, it's amazing to see you inspire some youth to really want to re-engage how they think and what they're doing and set them on the right path. Again, I wish I had someone at an early age to tell me some of the things that I can share with them now, and I'm excited about that. But I'm more excited about, like you said, the ones that want to get in commercial. I am going to be doing a small masterclass soon on the one-on-one basics on how to jump into development. That's coming up. Follow me. You hear more about it. We got a lot of things dropping out because it's time to start sharing information and getting people up to snuff on how to do it. But also, I really going to be doing a lot of fireside chats just around the basics, man. Because you'd be amazed when you ask people in the community about, what is equity? How do I have a conversation with the bank? What is a accredited investor? I'm doing a whole conversation on just accredited investor. Look that term up, please. It'll change your life. But just how do you talk to banks? How do you get engaged? And then how do you really walk and talk and live in communities and do something big? So you just follow me on Instagram and TikTok and all these platforms they got out there, and you'll see some of the things we're doing. Look out for the upcoming classes. And again, I want everybody to stay tied to Boss Up Academy because I just believe in what you're doing, and we're actually going to do some stuff together.
Yes, we are. And so I'm gonna pin the ebook. He's giving away free game.
Ooh,
Not only did he come on tonight, but he's giving away a free ebook. It's the very first comment under this video. But I'm gonna pin the comment so that you can get your free ebook from Mr. Dennis. And so he's not only giving us a lot of gems tonight of his time, a whole hour, but he's also giving us this free ebook. And be a sponge for knowledge. It can change your life. And then also across the bottom of the screen is the Christopher Dennis, which you can find him on all the platforms. And then we've also given you his website. So be sure to follow him, and as he develops these courses, as we see them pertinent to what we're doing in our mission, we'll be posting them on our page as well to help spread the word for people that may have missed out. But again, the ebook is free. He's giving away a free. Most people say $39.99, but he's saying free, no strings attached.
And again, I got some fireside chats. I'm going to drop a lot more knowledge and nuggets, some cool information about finance and how to do some cool things in my fireside chat. I'm actually have a whole mentorship and subscription we're going to put out because again, I want people to tap into the game and really understand and know the rules. And if you want to be a blessing, go visit these shops on Bayshore Road and see and hit some of my Airbnbs up or whatever. Just tap into the circle, man, and enjoy and let me know how I can help. Again, I'm always here. I'm always open. Again, when you follow me, you can always tap in. So
thank you again. I can't thank you enough, and I'm gonna have to invite you back. Maybe you have to come back once every quarter and put you on the hook.
Let me know. I'm available. And I'm telling. When I say this honestly, I am so proud of you, girl. I am so proud of you. Maybe one day you'll hit me up. Let's do coffee at Archive.
And then I do, before we close, I do have to tell this one part that I had to get him on here tonight because he's going to be gone for a whole month. How many people working at Bank of America can say that they're going to be on vacation for an entire month?
I won't say vacation. It's gonna be we're gonna be doing some cool work. So again, I got partners around the world. It's time to go change some lives and really do some cool stuff. So you're gonna see more of me when I'm not working than when I am working. So
well, and I didn't mean to say like just total vacation because people that are solving problems and got things going on, we are addicted to what we do, and it's not work, but you got that even balance going on that you're not just fully stressed out on one end of the spectrum, and you got that balance that you ride in the middle of the road.
I'm gonna throw something out there. Let me drop a gem for you. If you decide to really understand, and my mentor told me something a long time ago, and my mentor told me something a long time ago. They said when you take a month-long vacation or you go away for a month, you realize either how great you've organized your life, or how bad you've organized your life, or what you need to do to get your life right. And every time I go away for a month or I tap out or do something, I'm always thinking, how can I streamline? How can I find ways to do things better? How can I duplicate? How can I go help someone else be more like me so it can take some weight off of me? So I don't have to do it all by myself. So again, trust me, that teamwork is a dream work, and you got to kind of build on it and make it happen. So I'm just, man, look, I get excited all the time. You can call me back 2 hours. I talk for 2 hours.
Well, thank you again, and I hope tonight's video will bless someone. And I can't stress to you all enough how much you need to go follow him. Check out the ebook. He's giving you free game, and even looking into some of his mentorship program, because you want to get where people are that's doing what you want to do.
So right now, hold up. So right now, go on Instagram, pull it out, and tap in the Christopher Dennis, and like the page. I got a great media team out there doing some cool work. If you got some skills, want to help me out some more, look, hit me up. But again, I'm so excited. Got a lot of things going on, and it's all about that teamwork. So let's go get it. Let's go make it happen. Let's make some impacts and change some lives, and really just do some great things.